Okay, so what I'm going to do is go over the steps for what's due this week on the Einstein Junior project. We're currently on assignment number 3, which is due this Friday, which is called Build, Prototype, Take Photos, and Type Up Prototype Building Procedures. And that would be due this Friday. So the first thing you should do is turn in your Einstein Junior packet to where it says Prototype Build Procedures. I went over this with the class on Friday, and I'm not going to be collecting this pink paper, so you can use this as your rough draft space, but you don't need to worry about turning this paper in. If you'd prefer to go straight to the computer and type, that's perfectly fine. Just like in the last assignment, you're going to phrase your challenge as a question. So mine was, how can I build a rubber band car that can scramble across the room? After you've asked that question, you're going to build your prototype, and you're going to pay attention to what materials you use because you'll have to write those down later. On Friday, I showed the students an example of my prototype, a rubber band car built out of cardboard, some lifesavers, a straw, some tape, and a pencil, along with the rubber bands in the back that make the wheels turn. After I built it, I used my memory of which materials I used, and I wrote the materials down right here. You have to be very specific, with which materials you write down and the amounts that you use. So for example, instead of saying I need tape, you need to say I have 10 centimeters of duct tape and 4 centimeters of Scotch tape. Then, after you've done that, you write the steps to your procedure. And again, you can go straight to typing this. I've given each student a sample that's complete, along with one that's a grading sheet that's attached for them to use so they know what it's supposed to look like on Friday. The top part says the build plan, then you include your materials needed with specific amounts, and then you include your design procedures with the steps. Each design procedure should have a minimum of 10 steps with amounts listed and very specific steps explained. That's why it's so important that you have to build it first, otherwise you won't know how to explain the steps to build it. After you've written your steps and typed them, you're going to take a photograph of your invention or your prototype. You can also, if you don't want to take a photograph, draw a blueprint on this blueprint paper, which will eventually be made into a final draft, which is going to go on your board like this. But I suggested to students just to take a photo with their phone. They can email it to me even if they want, and I can print it out, because you're not going to be bringing in your prototypes this Friday. You're bringing in a photograph, and you're going to label your photograph with the dimensions. So for example, on my photograph, I've labeled it 15 centimeters, 6 centimeters, and I've labeled all of the different parts on my photograph. Eventually, you may want to include that photograph on your final project along with your blueprint. So just to recap, the things that are due this Friday are your design procedures with your materials. They need to be typed, preferably 16 font, as well as a blueprint drawing or a photograph of your prototype. Good luck building!